When I think about school, one strategy comes to mind: work hard, study hard, and achieve the results that you want. And as somebody who really enjoyed school, that's the strategy I always used. I wanted to learn as much as I could learn, and every time I put in an effort, I actually saw the results. But as soon as I left school, I realized that that is actually not always true. In today's video, I'm going to talk about some of the skills that I think we should have been taught in school. I spent so much time learning a lot of different concepts that I have never used in my life. But as an adult, I realized that the strategies that I learned in school and some of the things that I learned in school don't always translate. There is a lot more that is required of you when you're outside the learning environment. The first skill is financial literacy. Financial literacy is key. A lot of people who did not study accounting or finance or were not in business, they did not really get to learn about financial literacy. And then when you become an adult, you realize that the thing that really matters, the thing that actually makes your life what you want it to be, revolves around money and numbers. And you need to understand that even though you might have a great career, you might have a great life, if you can't really take care of the money that's coming in and going out, you will always look like you failed. It's such a great skill to learn, and this is something that you actually have to make yourself learn. It's something that you have to force yourself to learn, understand, and be able to actually function as a human being. It's hard, and sometimes people think about having like business managers and people that will take care of your money for you, and that's great, but at the end of the day, the decision making still lies with you. So for you to be a respectable, fully functional, efficient adult, you have to have some knowledge of finance. It doesn't matter what field you work in. At the end of the day, if you work, you bring in money, and money needs to be managed a certain way. So you have to get yourself out of your comfort zone and actually force yourself to learn something about finance. The second skill is financial discipline. It doesn't matter whether you studied finance or whether you studied, chemical engineering. At the end of the day, discipline is something that is required of all of us. And sometimes you can't use skill and knowledge in place of discipline. Discipline is just something that we all have to develop as human beings. It's a product of your values and the things that you really care about and want to focus on. Because without discipline, everything else doesn't matter. You could be really good at making money, you could be really good at your job and all these other things, but if you don't have the financial discipline that is required, even the financial literacy that you might have actually gone out of your way to learn is not useful. So I think at the end of the day, discipline is actually like top of the list, and that's not something you will ever be taught in school. That's something that I think you probably learn from the people around you, or it's something that you actually have to sit yourself down and talk yourself into trying to become disciplined and finding ways that actually work for you as an individual, because there are a lot of different strategies and a lot of different things that you can do that other people do and advise you to do. But at the end of the day, I think cultivating financial discipline is very, very personal. That's why you could see a couple and one is very disciplined and the other is not, despite the fact that they live together, they have all their money in the same bank account, they use the same resources and things like that, but one of them is just the opposite of the other. So I think it's a very personal decision, and whatever that means to you it's a range, and so you have to cultivate it yourself. I don't think you're gonna ever learn that in any school. You'll be taught strategies, but when it comes to the real thing, that's on you. Money doesn't always mean success. This one is controversial because there are a lot of people that just care about the money, but the truth is, when you're in school, you're told that the more you get paid at your job. The high paying the job is, the more successful you look, the more successful you are. And sometimes people just see it as that, you just see it as money. But once you become an adult, you realize that there are a lot of different factors that actually come into the equation to make you happy or to make you feel successful. And sometimes people outside your life will actually think that you're very successful based off of the money that you probably make, but you don't feel successful yourself. So I feel like success is such a personal thing, and it means totally different things to people. And the school system makes it seem like success is very linear, and it's really about, you know, how much money you're making, and probably, you know, the rank that you have in society. And so that's something that I think you have to keep in mind when you start your career. You can't always just feel like you are a failure and, you know, you probably didn't do well because you're not making as much money as the next person, even though you probably went to the same school. You have to be cautious of that. You have to take that thinking that you probably learned in school and start looking at your life from your own personal perspective and start defining success for yourself. Success cannot be the same things that, you know, the school system kind of made you think success was. Money is not always a product of hard work. I repeat that. Money is not always a product of hard work. Given the times that we live in, a lot of people are quick to say, well, you're not making enough money, then work harder, or you can't make, you know, you can't buy this, you can't afford that, then just, why don't you just work hard, you know, find another side hustle, do another job, you know, negotiate your salary. Those are things that you see people really throwing out there. And I just think that it's more complicated than that, because we know a lot of people that work really hard and they do things that even you as a capable young person are not able to do, but that product is not always money. So just because for you probably work harder, you put in a little bit more effort, and you see that money, you know, is the result of that effort, it doesn't always mean that that is the case for a lot of people. So in life, I guess you can't always just think that, well, since you've worked harder on something, then, you know, you should get more money. It always doesn't work like that. Things just don't directly translate like that. In some instances, in most instances, that could be true, but I think that is something that we're taught in school, that, you know, you work hard, you become successful in school, you go to start working in your career, you work harder, and you earn a lot more money. You should not always think that, you know, hard work equals money. The last one, which is a little controversial, is that numbers are great, but they don't mean much at the end of the day. How you feel about them is what truly matters. It's great to feel comfortable, to feel that you have enough money in your bank account to carry you through life and, you know, not worry about, you know, the little things in life. But I think how you feel about those numbers matters more. That is why there are a lot of people who are making so much money, but they are so sad in their personal life. So you leave school thinking that I'm going to work hard, become successful, make a lot of money, then I'm going to be so happy. But what you quickly realize is that you need to be happy first, and then that will help you to work hard and feel successful. And then, you know, if money comes, then you feel great about that money. That's why a lot of people struggle and a lot of people commit suicide and things like that, even though they have great jobs and they're making so much money. At the end of the day, you realize that your mental health and status is so much more important than the numbers that you're making. If you go into the world and into work just thinking about numbers only, you're probably going to end up really sad at some point, because you're not going to find fulfillment in a lot of other things outside of work, because you're just focused on, you know, hard work and money. And when that money doesn't come, you're not gonna know what to do with your life, because you're gonna feel as a failure. So I think the important thing is take care of you first. Take care of your mental health. Take care of you know, how you feel about the numbers. And so when the numbers come, they mean something. You can actually use that money to enhance your life. So at the end of the day, school is great, and a lot of the things that you learn in school help you through life, but there's specific things that you kind of have to probably unlearn or start looking at them from a different perspective as an adult. Because if you keep looking at things from, you know, what you learned in school or in a very linear way, you end up feeling so dissatisfied with your life, because at that point you're not really taking whatever situation you're in, you know, defining life from that. You're just looking at the textbook example of what success is and thinking that that is what it should be. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.